the United States Hot Rod Association has brought the monster truck to Tampa Stadium. Daytime qualifying for a nighttime race. And this is Monster Truck Challenge on ESPN, the Total Sports Network. Tampa Stadium in Tampa, Florida, and the parade of the monster trucks as we prepare for side-by-side racing. And this event features the super trucks of the United States Hot Rod Association. A packed house at Tampa Stadium, and good reason. They have some super trucks in the super truck division ready to fly high on a horseshoe track. This involves one turn. Here's your first round matchups. First Blood and Rob Fuchs going against Dave Valeroy and the Invader. Next, we'll have Joey Pittman and Pablo Cruz's Tough Enough against John Kwasniewski and the Buffalo Tremor. Next, Big John Moore and No Problem against Nick Rossi and the Outlaw. They're coming to the line for race number 1 here at Tampa Stadium. First Blood. This is Rob Fuchs. Rob out of Woodstock, Illinois, piloting the big Ford First Blood. Now, Rob's got some tough competition over in the other lane. This is Dave Valeroy and the Ford Invader. Dave out of St. Louis, Missouri. So it's First Blood and Invader, race number 1, round number 1. Monster Truck Challenge here at Tampa Stadium. The Super Truck Division. And side by side they go. First Blood with the lead. But First Blood and Rob Fuchs has to back it down. He has trouble on the turn. Dave Valeroy turns it with ease. And the Invader goes over the finish line first. Rob Fuchs has a lot of problems on that first turn. And the win goes to the Invader. Dave Valeroy using the rear steer right there. Very, very important on this horseshoe-type track. And look, Rob Fuchs has to go way out. When he comes back, he's out of shape. He's got to turn and do all sorts of things. And really, that cost him about 3 seconds there. He was playing catch-up. He wasn't able to do it. And the trucks are matching up for round number 1, race number 2. John Kwasniewski and the Buffalo Tremor. Johnny hails from Lackawanna, New York, and goes by Johnny K. He takes the Buffalo Tremor against Joey Pittman and Tough Enough. Tough Enough is out of Phoenix, Arizona. The truck is owned by Pablo Cruz, and Joey Pittman takes care of the driving duties. Both trucks are staged. Tough Enough and Buffalo Tremor. Side by side, they're waiting for the green light. When they get it, it's go! Over the cars, Buffalo Tremor with an early lead, and now that important turn. Joey Pittman using the rear steer, Buffalo Tremor using the rear steer. Side by side, and Tough Enough dies on the turn. Buffalo Tremor wins handily, and what in the world happened to Tough Enough? That's what his crew members are trying to figure out right now. Tough Enough's on the track. And John Kwasniewski, with his Buffalo Tremor, is sitting pretty in the winner's circle. He gets the win of round number 1. Oh, boy, a battle of Fords now. This is Nick Rossi and the Jersey Outlaw. Nick hails from Pennsauken, New Jersey. Big smile there from Nick Rossi, the fine redhead. He goes up against John Moore and No Problem. John hails from Lafayette, Tennessee. So we have a battle between the North and the South. John Moore, the Southerner, going up against Nick Rossi and the Jersey Outlaw from way up north. Both Fords, a Ford Bronco and a Ford F-250. Thumbs up from Nick Rossi. He's saying, I'm ready. Let's rock and roar. And he's not ready to rock and roar, but John Moore is. John Moore takes out the turning pole, and Nick Rossi is sitting on the starting line. Now, this is unusual. John Moore has handling problems, and can he make it across the finish line? He takes his foot out of it and just sort of waltzes across slowly. He's saving all he's got for round number 2. He sees that Nick Rossi and the Outlaws still on the starting line. Nick's getting out right now to investigate and see what the problem is with the Outlaw. We saw him on the start. He couldn't move, and then we saw him backing up just a little bit. He's going around. He's taking a look, and what are we going to do here, Nick? We're going to call for a tow and go back to the pits and find out what's going on. Here's the rerun. The Outlaw started and then died right there. He couldn't go any further. John Moore, and no problem at this point, does not know he has no competition. He's driving. He has a little bit of problems coming off the car. Takes out the turning pole. Now, normally, he would have been disqualified for taking out that turning pole. But Jersey Outlaw still sits on the starting line. The win goes to No Problem. And that's the tale of the Outlaw. He's being towed off the track. When we come back, we'll learn about monster truck tires. Welcome back, everybody. A packed house at Tampa Stadium in Florida as the Monsters come in for round number 2 of the U.S. Hot Rod Association's Monster Truck Challenge. This is Rob Fuchs at First Blood, and earlier this week, we caught up with Rob and asked him about monster truck tires.
Hello, everybody. For today's lesson, we're going to learn all there is to learn about monster truck tires. As you can see, they're pretty big. They measure about 5.5 feet tall, 3 feet wide, and weigh in the neighborhood of 800 pounds. There's only 2 companies in the United States that manufacture these tires today. Their original use was for fertilizer spreaders. They were designed to allow the heavy vehicles out in the wet fields in the spring without sinking. In the early days of monster trucks, and they were still mainly exhibition, the tires are used for the now familiar car crushing, which everybody has seen. And a few brave drivers even attempted to cross rivers and small lakes with their trucks. Because of the actual physical size of the tire and the amount of air it holds, the tires will support the truck in the water and make it float. But it can be kind of dangerous because the truck isn't wide enough to be stable, and there's a good chance it will capsize. As monster truck racing progressed and everybody went to bigger and bigger engines and more horsepower, we found that the tires, we were actually spinning the tires off the line, which was never a problem in the early days. But because of this spinning, we found that cutting the tread back like this tire has been done to really increase the traction available. Whereas the stock tread, as the tire came, the tread came up just like it does here, but then it went straight across and dropped straight back down, which really didn't offer a lot of traction when the tire was spinning. But by taking the Sawzall and 2 people and spending about 4 hours, you could actually cut the tread back at the angle like I explained earlier, and like I said, it would offer a lot more traction. Some drivers have gone as far as to take what's called a tire groover, which is basically a hot knife, and come in and actually cut the rubber out in between the tread blocks. After they get this cut down, they come back in and then they cut into the leading side of each tread block, which actually makes a scoop out of the tread. This takes about 40 hours of tire to do. They've gone to this much time and effort because we found in a short race the truck that has the most traction and can have the most speed built up before it hits the ramp usually will be the winner. These tires are actually pretty durable. I've been running this particular set now for about 3 years. During the course of the event, we run anything from dirt, concrete, and of course over the cars, which towards the end of the event with the sharp, jagged edges, they can actually start cutting the tires. Like you see here, there's a chunk missing, or they can actually cut through and puncture holes. If there's a small hole or tear, you can fix it pretty much on the spot with tire plugs just like you would put in a car or truck tire. If it's a bigger rip that can't be fixed with the plugs, you have to then take the tire off the rim and a patch is put on the inside, which is called a boot. These tires can also be retreaded just like a truck tire, but most people opt not to do these with the monster trucks because it does add about an extra 200 pounds of weight to the tires. All monster trucks have 2 sets of tires. The familiar 5.5 foot tall tires that we race with, and the smaller tires that we put on to transport the truck or work on it. These are roughly as big as a 15-inch car or truck tire. We have to switch to these tires when we transport because with the big tires, the truck would be too wide to take down the highway, or if you had an enclosed trailer, they'd be too big for the truck to even fit inside the trailer. If you have any other questions or comments regarding monster trucks, you can write me, care of the United States Hot Rod Association. 477 East Butterfield Road, Suite 400, Lombard, Illinois, 60148. That's it for this edition of Anatomy 101. I'm Rob Fuchs. Class dismissed.
And there's Rob and his first blood Ford pulling up to the line for round number 2 racing, and that's coming right up. What an excited crowd at Tampa Stadium, and they have reason to be. The best monster truck racing you'll see anywhere here from the United States Hot Rod Association. Round number 2 pairings pit John Moore, no problem, against Rob Fuchs in First Blood. And Dave Valeroy with the Invader goes up against John Kwasniewski and the Buffalo Tremor. Here's our first matchup between John Moore, no problem, and Rob Fuchs in First Blood. John out of Lafayette, Tennessee with the Ford Bronco. Rob with the Ford F-250 out of Woodstock, Illinois. They're ready, waiting for the green light. Remember, a horseshoe turning track. They must turn at the end and come back. Side by side, First Blood off to an early lead. Now the important turn. John Moore makes it around first. Rob Fuchs turns it on. And a come from behind victory for Rob Fuchs and First Blood. That turn was very, very hard for Rob. He came off the cars very, very nicely. Then he lined up into this turn. Had to back out of it using that rear steer and lost about a second there. He realized John Moore was in the lead. He turned it on, and the horsepower took him over the finish line first. Now, John Moore did a great job on this turn, but he just didn't have the horsepower to hold on to that lead. So going to your final, Rob Fuchs and First Blood. Our next matchup here on U.S. Hot Rod Association's Monster Truck Challenge is John Kwasniewski and the Buffalo Tremor out of Lackawanna, New York, against the Invader and Dave Valeroy. Dave has lane choice.
Both lanes are about the same. It's hard down on the other end because there's mud left from the mud runner pits, but it just seems like the left lane's a little easier to negotiate the turn at the other end because you're used to driving, in that lane on the highway. But they're both pretty good lanes. We had punctured a tire in the very first round in that right lane, so I don't want to take a chance on punching another one. I'm going back to the left lane.
So it's Chevy against Ford in the second round matchup. One goes to the final. Who's it going to be? Invader or Tremor? Around the turn they go. Invader, look at Dave Valeroy handle that truck. Whoa! Invader come from behind. That turn did it all for him. Dave Valeroy will face Rob Fuchs and First Blood in our final. You can see here, John Kwasniewski in the Tremor has an early lead. They're both going into the turn. Great handling for both drivers. But the Invader turns on the power quicker. He pulls way out in front. And he'll sail across the finish line a full half-second in front of Buffalo Tremor. John Kwasniewski had a good run going for him. He was in the lead. They went side by side, even into that turn, but he could not outpower the Invader on that straight line shot back to the finish line. So the Invader, while he does a great job on this turn, just out-horsepowers Tremor, and that's how he'll go to the final. Over the car into the winner's circle, your winner for race 2 in round number 2, Invader. So this full house here at Tampa Stadium is being treated to great U.S. Hot Rod Association action. And our final pairing pits the Invader against First Blood. That's coming up. When we return, we'll treat you to the Human Bomb. We take you from Tampa Stadium to the State Fairgrounds in Pueblo, Colorado for Mr. TNT. He's standing by with Jim Clark.
They call him Mr. TNT from Danville, Illinois. Here's Danny Reed. Danny, what is it that you do?
I do an act we call the human bomb. It's where I get inside of a coffin-like box with 2 sticks of dynamite 18 inches directly in front of my head, and I detonate the charge.
Where did you ever come up with the idea of getting in a box with 2 sticks of dynamite?
I didn't originate it. This has been back in the 30s when Lucky Teeter and Joey Chitwood Sr. were touring the country with their car shows, and I took it and at the age of 16 years old and made some improvements, and nobody uses any more powder than I do. And in fact, I don't think a body could take any more of a concussion than the charge I use in this box.
Have you ever sustained any major injuries doing this trick?
Nothing serious other than scratches and a bloody nose here and there from the pressure inside the box. This is one of the many stunts I do, and this particular stunt, you either do it right or not at all. It'll kill you.
Now, you do other stunts also, correct?
Right. I do flaming dive bomber car crashes, motorcycle jumps, tunnels, slide off the back of a car 70 miles an hour on my back, many, many more stunts.
What possesses a guy like you to do these kind of things?
I started at a young age. I was actually 15 years old, and I was crashing cars. And I was small for my size. I could hardly see over the dash, but it's just something I enjoyed at a young age. It kept me off the streets, and it was something I was interested in, and it went on through my life, and I still enjoy doing it.
What about Mom and Dad back when you were crashing cars? Are they a little concerned about you?
My mom didn't. She didn't know half of what was going on until she seen me on crutches once in a while, but my father was involved. He taught me a lot, made sure that I didn't do anything that he didn't think I could do, and he stood behind me.
As far as safety equipment when you do this, do you use any, or is it just the fire suit?
Yeah, I use, for this particular stunt, earplugs, aeronautical earmuffs, and a helmet, and that's basically all you can do, you know, in this one. And any stunt I do, I use all the safety equipment possible.
Okay. I guess one thing you want to tell the viewers is don't try this at home.
Well, yeah, if you got any dynamite laying around the house, don't try this.
What goes through your mind just before you do a stunt like this?
Well, usually most of my thinking is done during the day, and once it's time to do any particular stunt, I know what I'm going to do without even thinking. I know what I have to do. And on this particular stunt, when I have to set off the dynamite, I know it's going to hurt, so that's hard to do when I set it off electrically, and it's hard to do something that you know is going to hurt you. But so when they're counting down from 5 to 0, I'm just glad when they say 0 because I know it's going to be over with.
U.S. Hot Rod Association official Bob Dwyer checking to make sure that he's in and okay. They close the lid, strap it up, and Bob says, let's go. Danny Reed on the track at Pueblo, Colorado. Bob Dwyer, U.S. Hot Rod Association official, checking to make sure he's okay. Roll him around. Look at this blow-up. Boom. Danny's completely thrown free from the box. A good 10 feet away. Ladies and gentlemen, he's all right. Danny Reed, the human bomb. Next up, the finals from Tampa. Everybody's having a great time on the Suncoast, especially this packed house here at Tampa Stadium. Yes, sir, they're waving to the monsters. Our Super Truck Finals between the Invader and Dave Valeroy against First Blood with Rob Fuchs aboard. Both these guys have had to work very, very hard to get here to our final. And as they come up the stage, this crowd is cheering on their favorites. Matter of fact, this is an all-Ford final. Invader and First Blood. One's going to take home all the marbles from Tampa Stadium. It could be Rob Fuchs out of Woodstock, Illinois, and First Blood. Or this guy, Dave Valeroy. Dave hails from St. Louis, Missouri. He's doing the driving of the Invader. Both drivers in the cockpit. Both are staged. We're ready. Horseshoe-shaped track here at Tampa Stadium. Off the line, the Invader with an early lead. Rob Fuchs pulls away. In this turn, around they go, and oh! The Invader takes the turn too hard. Ends up on his side. Rob Fuchs in first blood cuts it too short, too. He has to stop and totally back up. Over the cars he goes. Your win goes to first blood. Now they're checking out the Invader. Dave Valeroy is fine. You know, the United States Hot Rod Association requires the trucks to have roll cages. The drivers are strapped in at a 5-point hitch with a fire suit, a helmet, the neck brace. And there's Dave Valeroy, absolutely, positively, 100% okay. Getting a big round of applause from this crowd. They got a thrill. And the truck's on the side, but everybody's okay. And here's where it happened. The Invader coming into the turn. Dave Valeroy knew the turn was very, very important. He used that rear steer. The rear steer seemed to kick in just a little bit too much. And gravity got the best of him. On his side he goes. Boom. And just a little bit of sheet metal damage, and the truck is okay. The crowd got a thrill, and Rob Fuchs and First Blood over in the other lane is having to struggle. But he gets the win. And back up top side, using the front end loader to bring him up. There's the Invader. Dave Valeroy's just fine. He's with Cheryl Perkowski right now. And truck owner Ray Perkowski. They're checking out the truck, making sure that it's just a little bit of damage, and that's apparently all it is. But the good news of the day is that Dave Valeroy is okay, and you got to attribute that to the safety features required by the U.S. Hot Rod Association.
I come in this corner a little hard, and she dug in on me, and I lost her. There was no getting out of it.
Are you hurt?
No, I'm okay. I'm fine.
Can you fix the truck?
Yeah, we'll fix it. We'll be back.
And here's one more look at that wild ride, the Invader. Dave Valeroy down and around and over, and you can see he's strapped in. He's fine in there. He's just got to wait for the momentum to end. Meanwhile, First Blood, Rob Fuchs was having some troubles of his own on this final. He comes around that turn, cuts it so tight, he's headed right for the turn pole. He's got to stop, back up, get it in reverse, and then he's got to turn around the turn pole before he goes on to finish the race. And look at this. The Invader's actually running. This crowd is on their feet. The Invader, the truck that was on its side, is actually running. The truck owner, Ray Perkowski, waving to the crowd saying, hey, we're coming back. And there's your winner from Tampa, Rob Fuchs and First Blood.